Hello everyone, Kevin Iverson here, hope you're doing well. Today's video I thought I wanted to do a video on the Oasis gigs that happened last week, 4th of July I think it was, on a Friday in Cardiff. And I was kind of wondering how to kind of put it all together. But what I've done is, with the help of Instagram, and also there's a site called thechiefsguitars.com, where I've got a lot of info. And obviously if you've seen the gigs, you'd have seen that he had like a Les Paul that as soon as I saw, I kind of fell in love with. I thought, oh, that's lovely, that. And a few people online were sort of saying, oh, it's it's something that Neil Young gave him. And then other people were saying it's the Johnny Marr guitar. But I knew it wasn't the Johnny Marr guitar, because they've got different headstocks. Like the one that Johnny Marr gave me is like a Gibson custom Les Paul with P90s, but they weren't nickel. And the one that Noel's got, they've got nickel P90s. And a few people said about Neil Young, well, it's definitely got a Neil Young vibe, 100%. But with Neil Young's Les Paul, he's got a P90 in the neck and a weird pickup in the bridge, which I don't honestly know what that is, but it's very Neil Young, but it wasn't that. But kind of like searching online, I thought to myself, it's obviously like a custom standard Les Paul with P90s, nickel P90s, and it's obviously, I guess, made specifically for Noel, I guess, maybe to his specs or whatever. But anyway, there is a friend of mine called Sean Hardy, who I grew up with. We've been mates since we were kids. He forwarded me a guy on Instagram called Lee Barton, and his name on Instagram, if you want to go and check him out, is at Bartram Lee. I hope I'm saying his last name right. And I think he works for Epiphone and Gibson and a few other different brands. And I think it was him that put the guitar together, because there's a picture of it on his Instagram page, and he says, look out for this guitar in the summer by a specific band that are going to be touring. But I think Noel's had it Murphy Lab aged, I believe, because it looks, I think that's what the Neil Young thing as well. It's like a black Les Paul P90s. It's aged like Neil Young, so it's definitely got a Neil Young vibe, and it's really beautiful guitar. Now, what I've done with my guitar, if you watch my channel, right, I've taken my scratch plate off, and I've also got these volume and tone knobs that I've had for years, and I thought I'm going to stick it on just to sort of show you how similar it is to almost mine to a certain degree, apart from I've got humbuckers, and I've also got cream, I don't know what these things are called, like pickup casings or whatever. And also the rhythm and tone is, I mean, this is just all aesthetics, do you know what I mean? But, the headstock is just like my headstock. I think he's got the Grover tuners. So it's not, it's a custom standard, not a Gibson Les Paul custom, if that makes any sense at all. The other things I noticed about the setup, or even in the past, like when they've done Be Here Now, if you remember, there's a guitar he had called a Les Paul Florentine, which Gibson made for him in 1997, and I got that from Brian Cadden. Brian Cadden's got a YouTube page, and there's a video all about that Silver Sparkle Les Paul he had, which again, another beautiful Les Paul that Noel had. Sometimes I wonder why he gets rid of certain guitars. Like me personally, I like it when you get a guitar player who has a specific guitar and you associate them with, like Neil Young. Neil Young's always got that Les Paul. I mean, to a certain degree, I guess if he ever lost it, or, I guess it becomes more desirable for someone to steal, maybe, I don't know. But even with Paul Weller, I think like his Casino he's had since the Style Council, and his SGs he's had, I think, as far as I'm aware, at least since the 90s, maybe through the 80s as well, I don't know. But I quite like the fact that people like Weller or Neil Young, they've got their equipment, you don't see them with new gear all the time, and I personally quite like that. There's nothing wrong, however you do it, or however other artists do it, is good. Is good for them. Even like with Johnny Marr, he always chops and changes. Although I think he's been using the Jaguar for some time now, Fender Jaguar. But yeah, Noel's obviously had all the best guitars as far as I'm concerned throughout his career. Amplifier wise, I know he said in that pedal show that he's been using the Hiwatt Custom 50, and I believe, I can only guess that that's what he's still using on this tour. The pickups in that new guitar, he's got a custom shop Gibson P90s with nickel covers. Someone in one of the comments, I can't remember your name, sorry, but someone mentioned, you know, because they've got 3 guitar players there, maybe he's gone to P90s to cut through the mix a bit more, and I thought that was a really good point. Possibly, but at the same time, you know, maybe it was just a guitar he wanted and he liked, you know, who knows. But I thought that was a good point. Geb Archer, he also had a really beautiful ebony Gibson Trini Lopez, which is basically like a 335. It's got a different headstock, and like rather than having F holes, they're like diamond sort of shaped holes in the guitar. Again, a beautiful bit of equipment. When I saw Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds in Margate, I think it was pre-lockdown, and all the guitars they brought out were gorgeous, you know, really good taste in equipment and guitars and all that, you know, and a great sound, and they were faultless when I saw them. And Bonehead, who's there, he's still rocking his Epiphone Riviera, which I absolutely love. You know, I don't know if I could see Bonehead with another guitar. I feel like that's his thing, and I love that. And with Bonehead, you know, I saw a bunch of, they look like Blues Breakers, but they're not Blues Breakers. They're, 1973X, Marshall 1973X, which I think they're about, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're like 18 watt Marshall. There's about 4 of them. 4 or 6 of them I saw on stage. Now I can't work out if they were Boneheads, or I don't think they were being part of Noel's setup, but Bonehead on his Instagram page posted a picture, and he's got his Cornell Plexi combos, and underneath them they're sat on top of some 90s Marshall combos, which are Marshall JSHIM 900s. I think they would have been 50 watts. So I don't know if maybe Bonehead was using the Marshall 1973X's the first couple of gigs, and then he swapped it out for his Cornell Plexi combos and a couple of old Marshall JSHIM 900s. I've not Googled it, but I'd love to see how much those JSHIM 900s go for online. I don't know if they still pop up every now and then, those amps and that, but I think that's about it really. I mean, it's all a bit silly to a certain degree, because all we're discussing really is humbucker guitars going through an overdriven amp. You know, to me, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, it's exciting, the fact they're back together, and it's quite, to a certain degree, a little bit emotional as well, you know, to see them back together, to see them playing those classic songs. How long it's going to last, or, I mean, I don't think they'll do another album. I don't know. It's just great that they're back together. And I haven't got a ticket to these gigs. For me, I wasn't going to pay. I'm not going to pay over 100 quid to see them personally. I love Oasis. I'm a huge fan of Oasis. I know someone who said he paid over £400 for a ticket. If you want to do that, I haven't got a problem with that at all. You crack on. But for me, I'm enjoying watching it from the sidelines, to be honest with you. But I had someone get in touch on Instagram, a person from Japan, and I hope I'm saying your name right on there, but it's like Aburabaya Cruiser. I hope that isn't something rude and I've not got it, but we shall see, I guess. But he got in touch because he said, oh, your Les Paul's similar to the one he's got, which to a certain degree it is. I say I've now sort of pimped it a little bit. Let me know if you prefer it with the scratch plate on or off. I'm a bit OCD about that. But he said that he can't get, let me grab it here, in Japan he's unable, oh, don't fall off your chair, he's unable to get a Noble's ODR Mini 2. For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know what the score is over there. But so what I thought I'd do is I'll just show you, if you can't get hold of a Nobles, something that's kind of very similar to a Nobles is the OD3, Boss OD3. Now, if you're in Japan, obviously Boss make the best pedals in Japan, as far as I'm concerned. But the OD3 I feel is kind of similar and close. So if you can't get hold of this, the next best thing to me is as a Boss OD3. Now, it doesn't clean up as well, but for the Oasis thing, I think this sounds good, especially with a Les Paul. So I'm going to quickly give you a sound bite now. My signal path is my Les Paul, going into a wah-wah down here, straight into the tuner, into the Boss EQ G7. It's set flat and the volume's bumped a little bit, and this to me is my favourite boost pedal. When it comes to boost pedals, this is what I prefer. And Tom Bukovac, I know he's a fan of this pedal as a boost. And then obviously you can change the graphic EQ to taste if you want a bit more mid or some bass or some treble, or you can even use it as like a bit of a lo-fi guitar sound, you know. But I'm just keeping it flat with the volume boosted up. That's driving into the OD3, and I'm going into my echo delay unit and then into the blues breaker. I still think, no matter, you know, people go on about compressors with Oasis and, you know, they run through the whole rig. I still think this kind of setup is going to cover most Oasis stuff. You know, you could put a tremolo on there for certain songs, but in all honesty, I still don't think people are going to notice much more than some overdrive, a boost for solos and some delay. Just my opinion, just my viewpoint. If there's another pedal that you feel is really crucial to the Oasis sound, then stick it in the comments. But I think you can have as many pedals as you want. I don't care. You know, I think whatever enjoyment you get out of it is good. But anyway, let me stop rambling on as I normally do, and we'll get some sounds up. So just make sure I'm in tune. So here's my clean sound, right? Bit out of tune. It's super duper clean. So then let me show you the OD3. The OD3, I've got the drive around sort of 9 o'clock. The tone is around sort of 10, 11 o'clock. And the level is just below halfway, right? So still sounds out of tune, that. Try again. So here's the OD3. Here's the A string. What I'd suggest is, like, I've got the drive on about 9 o'clock, but I'm actually turning it down slightly on the volume. Put on the delay, stick on that. Oh, come on. Sticking on a bit of echo or delay with the Oasis thing, because I just feel like it almost gives it that stadium-like feel that they have to their sound. But yeah, I think the OD3 works really well. My guitar's a bit out of tune, so sorry about that. And again, with them starting off with hello, I thought it was wicked as well. And the other thing I like, why I've got the wah wah down here, is with hello, it's one of those things that Noel does that's super simple but works so well, which is when he goes, puts on the delay, I'll stick the boost on as well. Obviously, if the amp was turned right up and you start to get a bit of feedback, that's when you get that bit at the end of hello, is like that, which is obviously, if you turn it up, it sounds better. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to say about it, really. I think sometimes, I mean, I'm kind of a bit of a hypocrite now. You can like over obsess over their gear, but essentially, it's like the basic form of it for me is like a humbucker guitar, whether that's you've got, you know, a basic 335 Epiphone, or you can afford a Gibson Les Paul or a Gibson 335, and then just a nice valve-driven amp. You know, a bit of delay, maybe a boost for solos, and you're 90% there to the, or maybe even more than that, to the Oasis sound. But that new Les Paul he's got, I'm absolutely in love with. I think it's really, really nice guitar. I know a few people have been asking if he's going to do a signature run of it, which I can't even imagine what the cost of that will be. But yeah, beautiful guitar. Let me know if you like the way I've pimped my guitar to look similar to his. You may hate it, you might prefer it with the scratch plate on, but yeah, just for fun really. But anyway, that's all I've got to say today, I think. I think I've covered what I wanted to cover. Yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Oh, don't forget to subscribe, like, there's something else. I can't remember. In fact, to tell you what I will say, there's about, I think I'm almost on about 2,000 subscribers at the moment, which is amazing. But there's about, I think, 6,000 people that return to watch my channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Check out on my bio, I've got some t-shirts and some bucket hats available. So all of that helps out. You can buy me a coffee or a beer or whatever you want if you want to. I love bringing you these videos. Thanks for the support. I'm going to stop rambling on. Thanks very much. Have a good day.